Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I got a wonky camera hold on a minute. We can't have a wonky camera, can we? So, good morning and happy Sunday to you. And first of all, thank you very, very much for all of your lovely messages and best wishes for my birthday yesterday. So, yeah, I'm another year older than I was when I last spoke to you. Had a great day. So, as I said, thank you so much for all of your messages and beautiful cards that were sent as well. So that was really lovely. So thank you very much. So in return, I'm going to make you, hopefully, a beautiful card. And I'm going to be using the Design Boutique Christmas collection ones. So there are 2 or 3. Well, that's a lie. I think there's 5 actually. But anyway, 2 or 3-ish. In this particular collection. This is one of them. This one's called Snowy Days. So that's the one that I'm going to be using. There's also The Night Before Christmas and Santa Claus Village. And this one as well, Happy Holidays. So they're all of a similar sort of an ilk, if you could call it that they are sort of like a silhouette. So they're black and white, lend themselves to any of the ones to be done in the same way. So that's what we're going to be using. They are a rubber stamp, so they're a grey rubber stamp instead of the clear, which means that they have a backing on them. So that needs to be removed. I've put it back on there just to show you because I know some people in the past have got so used to the clear ones that they're not quite sure what they are. So I thought I'd just pop that on there to show you. So I'm going to be using that. I'm going to do 2 cards because they're nice and quick. So I'm going to do 2 cards for you today. One's going to be using embossing powder and a white embossing powder, make it like that, black card. And the other one's going to be using Distress Oxide in Chipped Sapphire, the one that I've got there. And a little secret up my sleeve, except I haven't got any sleeves on, is this new Cosmic Shimmer Embossing Sprinkles by Francoise Reed. And this one is called Snowstorm. It's very similar to it's an ultra thick embossing powder, but it really, really works well to give a snow effect. And so that's what it's all about today. And if you look at that, you can possibly see that the particles in that are very much thicker and also different shapes and sizes than a normal embossing powder is. Let me just show you a normal embossing powder. This one happens to be a sparkly one. But if I show you those two together, you can see that that one is just absolutely fine and just like fairy dust. And that one is a thick old chunk. So I'm going to be using the thick old chunk today. So, and show you just, put the right lid on the right thing, just show you how both of them go. So let's first start off with our stamp. And as I said, I'm going to use this one, which is called Snow Days. And so that's my stamp. So I'm going to take off this backing piece because it is the rubber one. And this doesn't need to be stuck to anything. It will, on your acrylic blocks or anything, you shouldn't need to put any extra sticky on there. And I'm going to use my stamping platform for it. And because it is the red, not red, that's grey. Because it's the grey rubber, I'm going to have to remove my rubber mat. So obviously, if you have a different stamping platform, the idea may well be different. But I'm going to just have to remove that because we won't need that bit. Okay, so the first card that I want to do is going to be on black. So I'm just going to trim a piece of card in half, my A4 piece of card in half, or roughly anyway. I'm going to trim it down afterwards, after I've actually done it. So that's going to go tucked in the corner there. And I'm going to cover it with a protective sheet, well, because I've already used some ink on here. And I'm just going to then pop that down into position, roughly. there. Okay, so then I can pick that up without being worried about getting any extra ink onto there, just for now. And I'm going to ink it up with one of the Versamarks. Now, these are back out new to me, haven't had them for a while, and I have to say I'm really liking the Versamarks. So this is the embossing ink, or the Watermark ink as they call it, because I want to emboss on with white powder on top of this as well. So first of all, I need to get my anti-static bag because I'm on black as well. And I'm just going to wipe over my piece of black card so that I'm not going to get ink where I don't want it to. And I'm going to ink up my stamp with my Versamark. So as I said, that's just an embossing. You can use Wow or whatever you might have, the Eyes Ink one. They all work fine. I've just got these new in and I'm liking it. So I've inked that up, and it will be difficult to see because you will have just like a watermark on it. You won't be able to see it very well, but hopefully you'll be able to see when I hold it up. Can you see roughly where that's gone? Yeah. So it looks like that. I can see it shining. So I'm just going to put my cover back into there so that when I press that over, whoops, oh, I can't get hold of it. There we go. And I just want to put some white embossing powder onto there. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on. You have got a fair amount of working time with these embossing inks. So you shouldn't have to do it sort of, you know, really get going. Just take off the worst. And you can see already that you've got a lovely image straight away onto the white, which looks very, very nice. But we're going to set that, because otherwise, if we didn't set it, it would soon be disappeared from there. You could obviously use this on a blue background. That would look nice, a dark blue background as well. So yeah, all of those things would look good. But I'm going to show you it the other way around in a second. So I need to heat set this. So I'm just going to heat my gun up and just going to go over and just heat set all of this. So then you will find that the white will really pop a little bit more, which will look nice. So let's just so you'll see. Hold it up so you can see a bit more. I'm just going to trace the ink, or the heat, I should say. Ooh, get hold of it. Just set this so that you've got that lovely white on black, looking very, very stark like that, which is great. So that's the embossing done from that point of view. Just so I've missed a bit on the tree. Hold on. I can't have it. Just that bit on the tree I've missed. Okay. You can see when you've missed it because it won't be absolutely white like this one is. So you're almost done, really, but that's your white card. So then I'm going to take some of my embossing sprinkles, as I said, Snowstorm, and I'm literally going to pick it up by pinching it and just popping a few bits onto my background. So I took the tiniest amounts. You can add as much as you like. Now, the secret of adding this is the fact that you need to heat it from behind, because if I heated it from the top, like I did with this one, it will just blow away and it will be gone. There will be no snow. So I need to just carefully hold it, hold it like that, and then my heat will come from underneath. So I'm just going to heat that up. I'm going to try and show you at the same time as have my on there, so I'm not quite sure if you can see it. But because these are massive particles, they just simply melt. I'm not quite sure if you can actually see how it's happening, but they just melt. And I've got it on, I've got a heat gun with 2 settings. So I've got this on the lower setting for this, whereas I had it on the higher setting when I was actually doing the main embossing. Just go over here, always from underneath there, just so that it melts. Otherwise the snow will be blown away. I think just go on for the last few bits that may have started to melt but haven't quite got there. So you can now see, hopefully, that you have got snow on there. And I think that although you've got white pens and things like that that put snow on, I actually found that this worked better because I don't know about you, but sometimes the white pens aren't all they're cracked up to be. They don't actually stay there quite as well as I'd like them to. So this one worked really well. So I'm just going to simply trim this down and pop this onto a DL card. So these are all, let's put that bit on for a minute. These are all DL stamps. Just probably need to take another slither off of that, but I don't know. We shall see. I haven't got that quite straight. So we certainly need to take another slither off as it's not quite straight. That's better. And then just trim this all around, and then it's going to go straight on to the DL card blank. So just trim that like so, and then take the DL, and that's going to fit in there. Absolutely just straight like that. I am going, because I've heat embossed it, I am going to put it on with double-sided tape so that it sticks a bit better, because it sort of just gets very slightly warped when you heat embossed it. So I just want it to be laying flat. If I left it for a little while, it would go flat, but because I wanted to show you a finished article, I've got to do that straight away. And I will add just a little tot of glue, just to be extra sure that it's going to stick. But I just want to make sure that it will stick like that. So all I'm going to do is pop that, nothing more, straight on to my card blank. Press that down. And you have a beautiful Christmas card, completely flat, one of those ones that can be sent. You can put a sentiment on. The second card I am going to put a sentiment on, but it's lovely. There's so much detail in these stamps, and as I said, there are more stamps in the range, but this one I particularly liked. You've got Santa's Village, Happy Holidays, what did I say? The Night Before Christmas, Snow Days. Not sure if there's another one, but they are all on the website. So if you would like to partake of any of those, you have got that choice. Now, we've done that way round. So that's kind of like your easy way round. Anyone can do that. Likewise, anyone can do the next card, but it's just got a little bit of a difference to it. So let me just pop that one to one side for the minute. And this time I'm going to bring in a white piece of card. which to start off with, I want to, let me just get, hold on a second, just get a blending mat underneath it, I think. So I've got an A5 piece of card, and I'm not going to use all of it by any means, but I just want to be able to stamp wherever I want to and then cut it down. So I'm going to use Distress Oxide because it blends better, and I'm going to use it in chipped sapphire, so it's a very dark blue. And I'm simply going to take it in using my blending mat to bring that in from the corner, and I'm really going to lay a lot of ink down on this top part. The card I'm using is super smooth white, clearly. And it just blends a bit better onto there. But if you're using the oxide, you will get a better sort of a blend. So I'm not going to worry about going any further down here, but I am going to build this dark bit up because I want this to be all really, really dark. So I'm just going over the same bit again, and I've still got some ink on my blending mat, so I can bring that down as well and just blend that in so that I've got the top bit is going to be really, really dark. Okay. And I'm not going to worry about the fact that I've only done it halfway down. Don't want any further down. And again, just picking up what I had on the blending mat and just bringing that in and just making sure that as much as I can that this bit is solid at the top. Now, obviously, again, I am doing this now. It will dry off. It will dry slightly darker later. But you haven't got half an hour just to sit and watch the paint dry, have you? So we've done that far. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my stamp again, my stamping platform, I should say. And I'm going to pop that down that way round. And the way that I will pop that on there so that we don't cover it. The way that I want this to fit in now, so bearing in mind that this is the ground bit, so the bit that's flat is the ground, bit at the top is the trees. I want it to be so that I have got a bit of white showing through, but mostly it's in the dark colour there. So I'm just going to bring it up so it's just a little bit of white so I can see the white is shining through there. And with my guidelines of my template, I can make sure that my stamp is straight. If you can see that on there, you can see that that is now straight. So pick that up. I can then remove that. And I'm then going to go in with VersaFine Clair, now in black. Now I could, obviously, and I should, hold that in place. But we won't worry about that bit because I never use that. I'm naughty. Don't tell anyone though. Now I have had the Versamark on there, and very often when you're trying to do a more silhouette type stamp, so where there's a lot of black dark spaces, sometimes it can be difficult to get them truly crisp and truly dark. And I have found that if you do something like this, if you can't find that it's not working very well, if you put on an embossing ink such as Versamark or Eyes Ink one first and don't take it off, don't clean it, then when you put your black one on, it does tend to sort of stick a bit better to it. The residue of the ink doesn't hurt this one and vice versa. It's just a tip that I found that seems to work very well. So I'm going to ink this up. This is with Nocturne. So this is the very black. You could use any black, of course. But I just want to stamp. I don't want to emboss it or anything. I'm just inking that up as much as I can. Now, bear in mind, I'm probably going to do this twice on here because I am inking onto oxides, which I have found needs to have a little bit of an extra. So I'm just going to rub that down, and I'm going to just add that on once. And now, as you can see, where I left the white bit, I'll show you around in a minute. Hold on, let's just ink it all up. But where I have left the white bit, it looks like that's sort of a new day dawning type of thing. But or maybe the lights of the village coming through. Getting a bit romantic there, aren't I? But you know what I mean. So let's hope that we've got that in the right place again. I think we have. Look at that. So when I turn that around, we've now got the same scene that we had just now. Oops, excuse my arm. But we've got it the other way around now. We've got it in the black onto the snowy sky sort of thing. Except we haven't quite got the snowy sky just yet. So let's just pop that back in there so I don't get ink all over the bottom of my stamping press. And we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. I'm going to take some sprinkles of our snow, and I'm just going to tiny little bit. I don't know if you can see that, tiny little bit. I'm just going to sprinkle that over my sky like that. Okay. Then I'm going to get my heat gun, and as I said before, we're going to do it from underneath. You do want to try and get the heat gun to be hot before you try doing this. And just simply melt that from underneath. I'm not sure if you can see it changing actually. And because it is a snow scene, it doesn't matter if the snow is going in different places. Just simply melting it. This side over here because we didn't quite do over there. And at the top, but it is going to be trimmed down. And just come in and just do the last little bit. If there are any that are very loose, they will fall off. They will be blown off, but otherwise they will stay in place. I'll just bend that a little bit because heat is bending my card and I don't want it to. Thank you very much. So there you go. Now we've got another snowy scene here. And I'm just going to pop that onto there. And I'm also going to take one of my Christmas strips here, and I'm going to choose the one that says "Let It Snow." But you've got all sorts of nice things in there. Merry Christmas, Silent Night, but we'll go for "Let It Snow" as it is snowing. And I'm just going to stamp that onto a scrap of card down the bottom here. I'm going to be brave or daft, and I'm going to do it with one of my acrylic blocks as opposed to popping it onto a stamping platform. I'm going to stamp it in the Versafine Claire in the black again, so the same as we had. And because I know I'm cutting all this bit off here, I'm going to go, if I can, in the corner so that I've already got two straight sides. Yeah. Well, that's the theory anyway. But if you're not confident with the stamping, you might want to not do it quite like that. But I can now just trim that down. Put the lid back onto there. Pop that over there. So I now need to trim this down so that it fits to size. trim that piece first. Whoops. And just trim that down to there so that I know that I've got my sentiment ready to go. And then I'm going to trim here. Now I know that that's a straight line, so whoops, I want to try and get on that straight line if I possibly can. I'm using my guides here on the thing there if I possibly can to get that straight, which I think I have achieved. And one down there. Onto there. So that's bringing it down to 9 centimeters, and I believe it's by 20 when we get to the final bit. Not 20, by 19 I should say. So just bring that in there. And then I'm going to cut out, so I've gone to 9 centimeters by 19 centimeters, and I'm just going to cut out a piece of black card just to back that, because I think that would look quite nice to have a thin piece. So I'm going to go to 9.5 by 19.5. And that should just give that a nice thin border all the way round, which might not show up very well like that, but when we pop it on the card, it will. And okay, then where's my Let It Snow? I think Let It Snow can go straight on there. I was wondering whether to put Let It Snow onto a little black border as well. Oh yeah, I need to put it on a little black border, sorry. So I'm going to put, because it's tiny and it's fiddly to measure and whatever, the better way, oh, I should have put my pin in there, shouldn't I? Better way would be to stick the sentiment on to the black background first and then just trim it down. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue onto there. Put it onto my black piece of card and then just push that over so that I have already got a very narrow border all around it, but I don't need to measure it and see and fiddle with tiny bits. I just find that that's a bit easier for me. So I'm just going to bring that in, trim that down, and hopefully fiddly, I know, but worth it, I think. So there's my little sentiment. Whoops. So let's pop these together. I'm going to put my tape onto the back of this one so that it fits right nicely onto my black layer. Nice and flat. And then a little bit of extra glue on there just to hold that down as well. So all of the stamps in this selection are all DL stamps, so they all fit onto a DL card blank. So they seem to be very much the rage this year, don't they? Which is nice, nice different one. And as I said, if you're worried about sending them away, then they do sort of help with the bulk of not having anything too much to send. Now I've got to just hover this above to make sure that I've got it on straight if I possibly can. It's like, don't breathe now. I'll just stick that down. So there's my card front. And as I said, with the snow, what I like about it is that unlike with some of the pens, where the pens can actually fade, I find they fade. They sink into this ink sometimes, and so that they've gone. This one, they're there all the time. Doesn't matter how much I muck about with them, they will still stay there, which I think is lovely. So I'm just going to get my other card blank. So it's my DL card blank. This one's got obviously 2 layers, so it's a bit of a tighter squeeze, bit of a lesser border than the other one. You'll see the difference in just a second. So I'm just going to lay that down onto there and pop that on like that, leaving a little white border all the way around. Press down from the other side, and then I'm going to pop my little Let It Snow just over there. I was going to pop some foam on it, but I won't. I'll keep it nice and flat so that it can go in the post. So I'm just going to pop that up in that corner there. And you could put any of the sentiments on. They're all really nice sentiments. But I think that that one looks quite nice myself. So let me just put my pin back into my glue. Get rid of my bits and pieces so that you can see, and I will give you a resume of what we've used. So here are our 2 cards, which are done with exactly the same stamp but just different ink. And I'm not quite sure which one I like best. Which one do you like best? I think they just look so different. And if you haven't got either, most people have got black ink, so most people can achieve this one. Yeah. But if you have got some white embossing powder, that one is beautiful as well. And as I said, you could do them in different colours. We're often doing this sort of thing with the more sunset and sunrise colours, with the bright colours. And I'm not quite sure. So let's see what you're looking at. You're liking this one, I think. Liking this one. You can comment, June. You are commenting. We can see you. Don't you worry. I'm glad you like them though. But yeah, they are just very, very effective. Do you know what? I think this needs a Let It Snow as well though, don't you? I think it's going to have a Let It Snow. Let me just grab a bit, because it's now I've put that there. I like that. So I'm just going to have to do this one as well. Sorry. I will do it in white though, because I don't need to have it changed. So I'm going to pop that in that corner there. And then I'm going to trim that out, because I need to finish it. I can't just not do it like that now, can I? Eh? Hold on, just get my guillotine to trim that one down. So just trim that there and trim that off. Oops. Hopefully, she says, there. Needed that, didn't it? Needs that to go on there. So just pop a little bit of glue. Always fiddling. Always fiddling. We put that up there as well. We don't want to I don't want to detract from the actual picture by putting the sentiment more in the middle. I just want to put it to one side so that it just shows there. That's better. I'm happier with that now. So very similar, but very different as well. So as I said, today, the cards are all about the designer collection, designer boutique collection, I should say. All the different ones are available on the website. I can see that some people say that there's some slightly different ones. Oh, I see what you're saying now, June. We don't need to be common, no. The stamps, loads of them available, but if you are interested in the Cosmic Shimmer Snowstorm, that is limited, so do go and check that out. I thought I saw someone say they couldn't find this. It is on the website, but it might be not in the right place, so I'm going to pop it onto the Facebook Live section for you so you can have a look. So as I say, thank you so much for joining me. I'm now continuing. I'm going to have a birthday week. I don't know about you, but I decided years ago that birthdays should not be just for 24 hours. They have to last at least 7 days. And so today I'm going out to lunch with my dad, and the staff are coming as well. So that's going to be nice. But I've got few little other things planned for the future, but they don't really know that yet. But never mind, as long as I take their card with me, it'll be fine, won't it? Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. Take care. Have a great day. And I'll see you on Wednesday at 11 as well. Thank you very much. Bye.